The ballroom was a cathedral of light. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls, scattering reflections across a sea of designer gowns and tailored suits. Laughter rippled through the crowd, a smooth, practiced kind of laughter, the kind that came from people used to being listened to. A string quartet played near the grand staircase, their notes melting into the hum of conversation and champagne glasses. Tonight was the Hawthorne Foundation Gala, the most exclusive charity event of the year. The air smelled faintly of white roses and money. At the far end of the room, behind a tower of macarons and an ice sculpture shaped like a globe, Lila Hawthorne sat alone at a round table meant for 10. Her chair looked far too large for her small frame. She was 8 years old, dressed in a blush pink gown that shimmered under the lights. A diamond hairpin held back one side of her chestnut curls, the other fell softly across her cheek. She looked, to anyone glancing her way, like the perfect picture of privilege, the daughter of Richard Hawthorne, tech billionaire and philanthropist. But if anyone had looked closer, really looked, they might have seen the tension in her shoulders, the small, restless movements of her hands, the way her eyes darted across the room as though searching for a sound she couldn't find. But no one did. People passed her table, some smiling, some whispering, some pretending not to see her at all. Their eyes flicked briefly toward her before snapping back to safer topics, mergers, travel, influence. Lila tried to follow the movement of their lips, piecing together fragments of a world that refused to slow down long enough for her to catch up. Her father was on stage now, shaking hands with donors, his laughter booming through the microphone. Cameras flashed. Applause filled the room, a tidal wave of noise she couldn't hear, only felt as a faint vibration through the floor beneath her shoes. Lila pressed her palms flat against her lap. She wanted to smile, to clap, to belong, but she didn't know when. Timing had always betrayed her. So she just sat there, small and silent, a forgotten star in a sky full of brighter ones. Dash. Across the room, Anna Morales balanced a silver tray of champagne flutes, weaving carefully between clusters of guests. The uniform fit tightly at her wrists, the black fabric stiff against her skin. She'd been working double shifts all week to cover rent, and her feet throbbed in her shoes. Still, she kept her chin high, her smile polite. She had promised herself she wouldn't let this place make her feel small. Anna was 25, a recent graduate of a community college art program that hadn't led where she'd hoped. She'd taken this catering job to survive, just until something better comes along, she'd told her mom. That was 2 years ago. She knew how to fade into the background, how to make herself invisible among people who spoke in a language of status she didn't understand. But tonight, for reasons she couldn't explain, her eyes kept drifting toward the little girl at the far table. Something about her stillness in the chaos pulled at Anna's attention, the way she kept glancing up when people walked by, as if expecting someone, anyone, to stop. The way her fingers tapped nervously on the tablecloth, over and over again in small, deliberate patterns. Anna had seen that kind of motion before. Her younger brother, Matteo, used to do the same thing, hands flicking rhythmically when he got anxious, trying to communicate something no one around him seemed to notice. Matteo was born deaf. Growing up, Anna had learned American Sign Language for him. It had started with necessity, gestures to help him ask for water, to tell their mother when he was hurt, but it had grown into something deeper, a secret language between siblings, a bridge no one else could cross. And now, watching this rich man's daughter sitting alone in a sea of diamonds and indifference, Anna felt the same ache she used to feel when her brother came home from school in tears because no one had spoken to him all day. She knew that ache too well to ignore it. The head waiter's voice cut through her thoughts. Morales, refill station 3, then clear the dessert table. Quickly, please. Anna nodded and turned, but her gaze flickered once more toward Lila. The girl was staring down at her plate, a single fork mark pressed into the untouched slice of cake before her. The people beside her had moved away to talk, leaving her in a small island of silence within the party's storm. Anna hesitated. She shouldn't. Talking to guests, especially family, was against the rules. The staff were meant to blend in, to be silent shadows in black and white. The Hawthorns had strict event protocols. But the pull in her chest was stronger than the fear in her stomach. She set her tray on the nearest cart and slowly walked toward the little girl. Dash dash dash. When Anna reached the table, she crouched slightly to make herself level with the girl's gaze. Up close, she could see that Lila's eyes were rimmed faintly red, as if she had been blinking back tears. Anna smiled softly, tapping gently on the edge of the table to get her attention. Lila looked up, startled. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. Then Anna raised her hands. Carefully, slowly, she signed, "Greater than, are you okay?" Lila froze. Her eyes widened, disbelief flashing across her face like lightning. For a moment she didn't move, as though afraid to believe what she'd just seen. Then, with trembling hands, she signed back. "Greater than, you know sign." Anna nodded, warmth flooding her expression. "Greater than, a little," she signed. "My brother is deaf." And that was all it took. The child's face broke open in a smile so pure, so sudden, it felt like the whole ballroom dimmed around her. The tension in her shoulders melted. Her fingers began to move faster now, excited, eager. "Greater than, no one here talks to me," she signed. "They look, but they don't see me." Anna's throat tightened. She wanted to say something comforting, something wise, but words felt small. So she just nodded, slowly signing back. "Greater than, I see you." Lila's lips curved upward, and her eyes shimmered. For the first time that night, she wasn't invisible. Dash dash dash. From across the room, the head waiter shot Anna a sharp look, the kind of look that could cost her the job. But Anna didn't move, not yet, because in that moment, in the midst of all the wealth and noise and vanity, two people were having a conversation that no one else could hear, a quiet rebellion against indifference. And neither of them wanted it to end. The applause thundered across the ballroom. At least, it looked that way. To Lila, it was just another wave of mouths opening and closing, hands clapping in perfect rhythm to a song she couldn't hear. Her father, Richard Hawthorne, stood at the podium, a commanding figure in a tailored black tuxedo, the kind of man whose presence filled a room long before he spoke. He was delivering the closing speech for the Hawthorne Foundation Gala, a night that had raised millions for children's education programs, a cause he loved to champion. His words were smooth, polished by years of public speaking. Cameras flashed, donors nodded approvingly, but even from the stage, Richard could see the empty chair beside his daughter. His assistant had told him earlier that Lila had been quiet all evening, but that was hardly unusual. She was quiet every evening. His heart tugged briefly, a quick flicker of guilt, before he drowned it with another smile for the cameras. Dash dash dash. At the back of the ballroom, Anna stayed kneeling by Lila's table, her black uniform a stark contrast against the pink silk of the girl's dress. They were laughing, not with sound, but with movement. Lila's hands fluttered through the air, graceful and bright, telling stories with her fingertips. Anna followed, signing carefully, a little clumsily, but with warmth. "Greater than, my dad is always busy," Lila signed. "He talks to everyone else. Not me." Anna hesitated before responding. "Greater than, maybe he doesn't know how." Lila frowned. "Greater than, he could learn. But he doesn't try." Her small shoulders lifted and fell in a gesture of quiet defeat. Anna's chest tightened. She had seen this before, children made invisible by love that came wrapped in the wrong language. "Greater than, you're smart," Anna signed gently. "And brave. Don't stop trying. Sometimes grown-ups forget how to listen." Lila smiled at that. A fragile smile, but a real one. Just then, the lights dimmed slightly, signaling the end of the speech. The guests rose in applause again, crystal glasses clinking. Lila clapped along a beat too late, watching others for cues. Anna noticed her embarrassment and quickly began to clap too, matching her rhythm. Lila giggled. For a fleeting second, she looked like any other 8-year-old. Dash dash dash. "Excuse me." The sharp voice cut through the moment like glass. Anna turned. The head waiter, Mr. Calloway, stood behind her, his expression tight and disapproving. The guests nearest them glanced over, curious. "Morales," he hissed under his breath, "what do you think you're doing? You are not here to socialize with guests." Anna straightened quickly. "Sir, enough. Get back to the service corridor now, or you can collect your paycheck tonight and never come back." Lila's eyes widened. She stood abruptly, signing frantically. "Greater than, don't go. Please." Calloway frowned at the sudden flurry of movement. What is she doing? He asked, uneasy. Anna ignored him. She smiled reassuringly at Lila and signed slowly. Greater than, it's okay. I'll come back. But before she could step away, a deep voice interrupted. What's going on here? Richard Hawthorne had descended from the stage, his presence instantly silencing the small commotion. Calloway stiffened, bowing slightly. Mr. Hawthorne, I apologize, he said quickly. One of the servers was, speaking to your daughter. Against protocol, Richard's gaze moved from the trembling waiter to Anna, then to his daughter. Lila was clutching Anna's sleeve, looking up at him with desperate eyes. He frowned. Speaking to her, she doesn't. He trailed off, watching the two exchange a few quick gestures. His confusion deepened. Are you using sign language? He asked Anna, incredulous. Anna nodded, forcing herself to stay calm. Yes, sir. She seemed lonely. I just wanted to make sure she was all right. Richard's jaw tightened. You were hired to serve food, not to entertain my daughter. The words were cold, but beneath them was something else, something frayed. Anna could see it, a hint of guilt, or maybe fear. Lila tugged at his sleeve, signing furiously. Greater than, she understands me, Daddy. She talked to me. Richard's eyes flickered toward her hands, the quick, elegant movement of them, but his expression stayed blank. He didn't understand. He'd never learned. The silence that followed felt heavier than noise. Finally, Anna spoke softly. Mr. Hawthorne, with respect, she just wanted someone to talk to. Someone who could hear her, even without words. Richard turned toward her slowly, his voice low. You have no idea what my daughter needs. Anna met his gaze. Maybe not, but I know what it looks like when someone's being ignored. The sentence landed like a stone between them. Calloway shifted awkwardly. A few guests were pretending not to watch, though their curious glances betrayed them. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Richard knelt beside his daughter, his expensive suit bending awkwardly. He tried to catch her gaze, but she wouldn't look at him. She turned away, tears forming in her eyes. Lila, he said quietly, his voice breaking on her name. Sweetheart, she shook her head. Her hands moved again, fierce and trembling. Greater than, you talk to everyone else. But not me. Richard's throat went dry. He didn't need to understand the exact words to know what she meant. He looked at Anna helplessly. What is she saying? Anna hesitated, then translated gently. She says, she just wants you to talk to her. Not through tutors or doctors or assistants. Just you. Richard looked down, blinking hard. The weight of the room pressed in. The donors, the lights, the murmuring crowd, all of it suddenly meaningless compared to the small, trembling girl before him. After a long silence, he turned to Anna. Can you teach me? The question was barely above a whisper, but it stopped her cold. Anna blinked. Teach you? He nodded. Sign language. Just a few words. Enough to talk to her. Lila's head lifted slowly. Her eyes searched his face, uncertain. Anna's chest warmed. She nodded. Of course. And there, in the middle of the glittering ballroom, amid half-eaten desserts and crystal chandeliers, Anna began to teach the billionaire his first words in silence. She raised her hand, shaped it gently. This, she signed, means I'm sorry. Richard followed her motions carefully, clumsily. Then she signed, this means I love you. He hesitated, then copied her, his hands trembling. When he finished, he turned toward his daughter and signed both phrases. They were slow, imperfect, but they were his. Lila froze, eyes wide, before breaking into a smile that could have lit the entire ballroom brighter than any chandelier. She threw her arms around him, her small hands pressing against his back. Richard closed his eyes and held her tightly, something in him breaking and healing all at once. For the first time in years, he wasn't a billionaire or a CEO. He was just a father learning how to listen. Anna stepped back quietly, emotion tightening her throat. Calloway said nothing this time. Around them, the crowd softened, conversations fading into silence as people watched the scene unfold. And somewhere in that sea of polished indifference, a few people began to clap. Not for Richard's speech, not for the money raised, but for something rarer, the soundless miracle of understanding.